And we're going. This is SANDCAST Beach Volleyball with the champ again.
Hey-o.
Triborn back-to-back jacks for the boys. Manhattan, easy peasy. Chicago, really easy final. Total cruise control. Mm-hmm. Probably the best match of the year by far, I think.
Yes.
And joining us, we have my friend. He's your friend. He's everyone's friend. He's Kyle Friend.
Woo! I love it. Wow, nice, Travis.
Thank you, sir.
I've done it. We've done that a couple times on when we get to commentate together.
Yes.
So I've got Kyle's intro dialed in.
Oh, gotcha.
It's nice. It just kind of flows out the tongue. Everyone's happy. My friend, your friend. It's just like a good feeling, you know?
It is.
It's nice.
True. I saw your license plate as you rolled up.
Yeah, the K-Friend-mobile,
K-Friend.
baby. People know.
K-Friend-mobile.
The whole fam. It started with my grandfather, actually. He had a friend on his plate.
Uh-huh.
When he passed, my dad took that. My mom has G-Friend. I have K-Friend. My sister's got Friend 7. So kind of a family thing.
Yeah, you gotta stick with it.
Yes, I gotta stick with it. It's a good and bad because I'm driving around, people sometimes know it's me. But then if I do something stupid, that's bad. But the other day, I'm driving home from Manhattan, and Molly Turner and James Shaw are, hey, they wave, and we have a full conversation in the car as I'm driving with my folks.
That's helpful.
So there you go. So sometimes it works.
And you still got the Florida plates on there.
Proud of it, but not supposed to anymore.
Yeah, I've been here for a minute, but the Florida plate's still there. You know, haven't had someone tell me otherwise. So you know, I'm a student sort of, and just kind of popping in for a little bit.
Volleyball intern.
Oh, exactly. A student of the sport and the Florida plates.
I had because when I made the move from Florida, I kept the Florida tags as long as I could because California tags are pretty expensive. Until I started getting enough tickets, I was like, all right, it's time. Mm-hmm. But then when I bought the Civic, though, then it just came with it.
Got it.
Like, great.
That's good.
Wait,
yeah.
do they just pull you over? They just randomly pull you over?
Well, mine was expired.
Oh,
well,
your tags.
That's
are
not
expired.
everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but you can just re-up your tags and keep your plates, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to have a Hawaii plate on my
Right?
truck.
That'd be dope.
Be natural.
It's not worth my time to fly my truck out there, somehow get Hawaii plates, and then bring it back.
That'd be pretty pricey.
Ship, not fly. That'd be pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah. A few buddies have shipped their cars back and forth, but yeah.
I just get my tags shipped to me from my folks.
There you go.
So it kind of works out, sort of.
We were just talking about how we're not going to do incriminating things on the podcast.
Exactly.
Here we are.
We're recording.
Starting off hot here on the SANDCAST.
Yeah, let's edit this one.
Oh, I love it.
Well, you're now you're kind of a South Bay guy now.
I'm kind of a South Bay guy now,
finally.
which is wild. I didn't ever think I would be a permanent South Bay resident. You know, I figured South Bay would be in my future for many years to come, whether it was a couple times a week, pop in for a weekend here and there. But I've been living up here now for almost a year. And the quicksands got me, bro.
Yeah.
The South Bay quicksands got hold.
The goo. Ken Steffes calls the South Bay the goo. And
The
I was
goo.
Like, it's so fitting.
That's really
It's hard to get me out of here.
Get stuck. My commute is 10 minutes, 5 minutes to the beach. I leave, I go to the grocery store. It's less than 5 minutes. I don't need to leave. LAX is 10 minutes
You see
from
friends
Everyone's
driving around.
right
all the time.
around. You know, it's like, it's very convenient. I'm not
Yeah.
having to drive into Orange County for work or anything like that. So I don't need to leave this area. Where I need to go is on the beach, and it's literally right here. So I know it's been really nice, and I'm really thankful I have a spot up here, and it makes, you know, the dreaded South Bay drive for the last 5 years a piece of cake. You know, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's not even a question anymore. Like when I was playing before, it was like twice a week coming up here, and it's like an hour up, an hour back. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I've always noticed that there's like the OC crew, and they're always like, no, I'm never going up to the South Bay. And I've always kind of I just like started here basically with SC and South Bay. But I was like, what is that?
I was the same way when I lived down in
you were
Costa
OC
Mesa.
guy.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going up there. And
Same as Nick Costello when he was down there with you guys.
Yeah.
Everyone you come up. It's like this magnetic force. You can't help it.
That's the problem. It's the volleyball. If you're in volleyball, it's too easy. You just got to be here.
You got to be here. All the teams are here. All the best players are here.
Save gas money. We're all broke.
Save gas money. Yeah, we're playing beach volleyball. We're not making a lot of money. But yeah, Orange County was great, and we had a reasonable crew with Ed Ratlich was down there. Connor Hughes, Travis Wilson, Chase was down there. Frischman,
Miles Magututia.
I mean,
Cody Caldwell.
Reed and D. Lee were down
Yeah.
there. Cody Caldwell. So like, it was like super good. Like we had good practices and stuff like that. Slowly, guys have started to migrate. Dave Lee's up here now.
Yep.
Frischman's up here now.
Oh, I didn't know D. Lee's all the way up here.
D. Lee's
Wasn't he
living.
in San Diego?
He was in San Diego.
Yeah.
Or just a little north, I think. He was more. He has a spot in like Dan.
I talk about leaving all the time. Like, yeah, I'm more of a San Clemente guy. I'm more of a Malibu. I'm just getting closer to the beach and more and more comfortable.
I think if you're leaving, you're going to Hawaii.
I'd like to. Yeah.
I think in California, you're probably here.
But I've been saying that for like 15
realistically, if you and Trev decided to move to Hawaii, you could still get the work done.
Yeah, the training partners would be the problem.
Yeah.
And then travel is like gnarly.
Yeah, that's another. I forgot about that. That's a lot.
It's shit. And then we have USA Volleyball here.
Yeah, the gym,
I have my
all the
trainer
resources.
here. Yeah, we could do it, but this is the easy life right here.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Not quite yet.
Yeah. I think it was Casey who started the exodus from Orange County. Because when Casey and Jake split and Casey moved up to Thousand Oaks, and then it was just really, because it was like Jake and Casey had like that pool where they could bring in really good players. And Trambly was down there.
Right.
Brad Keenan was down there. I think like Adam Cabbage and John Moran were down there a lot. And then once Casey moved, then him and Jake split. And then Jake started going up to the South Bay more to be with Taylor. And then it was just one thing led to another. Trambly retired and moved up to West Hollywood.
Yep.
And then it just sort of disbanded.
Yeah.
And now Ed's like the longest standing pro there, and he's starting to move out a little bit.
Yeah, Ed's still down there, still playing volleyball. Unreal. He's still traveling and competing and playing at a high level. But yeah, it was great when I was down there. Jake and Taylor, like he made Taylor come down there, so we got to practice with them a bunch, which was nice. And they're gone. Jake, they're not doing that anymore. So not a lot of people left down there.
Did you ever go back to Florida after you went to Long Beach, or did you just? Well, you went overseas.
I went overseas, right? So immediately after I graduated, I went to Germany.
Okay.
So, and then continued 5 years later, my time at home would be play indoor pro, come to Florida for like 2 weeks, see the family, and then live in California for the summer.
Okay.
Pop back to Florida for 2 weeks before I left to Europe, see the family, and then go to Europe.
Yeah.
And then that was my life for 5. So I never, ever moved back to Florida.
Okay. You just kind of popped in for a little bit.
I would just pop in, see the folks, and then I would just couch surf really for the summers in between international seasons.
Yeah, so you were living the beach life even when you were doing the indoor thing.
Sure. And that's the thing, like, for a while, living in Long Beach with a few friends, like Taylor and Trev, either like they were in school or we were playing beach down in Belmont Shores all the time.
Yeah.
And it was like nice to have those guys over summer. Like, I wasn't competing and doing AVP pretty much because I was just focusing on indoor. But I was playing a lot of beach and doing a lot of fun beach activities, 6-man, things like that, but not really putting in focused effort into sand volleyball during that time. Yeah.
I remember the first time I met you, me and Ryan Windish played. It was just like a day. We played against you and Charlie Condren. And I was like, who is this guy just bombing serves and bouncing balls? I'd never seen you before.
I love it.
And Ryan was like, yeah, he plays indoor in Switzerland. And this was like 2017 or so I like knew nothing about the indoor scene. I was like, that sounds incredible. I was like, Kyle Friend's one of the best indoor players in the world. He's playing in Switzerland.
This guy is legit. He plays Switzerland. It's a good league. Not the best in the world.
We'll take it.
It's a great lifestyle. Great place to live. Live in the Alps. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You did what? So you did Germany, Switzerland?
Sweden. 2 years Sweden, 2 years Switzerland.
Okay.
Switzerland my last 2 years, which was like my favorite 2 years. We got to play CEV Cup. We went to Turkey. We went to Portugal. We went to the Netherlands. We played a bunch of matches outside of Switzerland, which was great, and good people, great food, lifestyle was amazing. We lived in the Alps. I went snowboarding all the time.
Yes,
that was a joke. Like,
awesome.
I couldn't believe my manager was like, "Oh yeah, you can snowboard." I'm like, "What? Really?" Like, all right, we're gonna go out. And then we'd come to practice after snowboarding. He was like, "Hey, how are the slopes?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, yeah, it was amazing. It was the best. I love it. Now I'm gonna play volleyball."
That was like me in Puerto Rico. Same thing. They're like,
surfing.
"Oh, we don't have practice till 7 p.m. and we're only going to practice like twice this week." It's like, well, you put me on a beach house or like an apartment on the beach. So I'll just surf every day if that's cool with you guys. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just show up at night. Literally no volleyball happened like until the sun went down in Puerto Rico.
So everyone have jobs?
I literally had every day off. I mean, some of them maybe had jobs, but it's just that you played at night.
Right.
And that's a short season, so you had like twice as many games. You had like 2 or 3 games a week.
Okay.
So you're not practicing much. The day after the game, they just said, nah, you don't have to practice.
Yeah.
So it was literally just like pro surfer.
Pro surfer, pro snowboarder.
Snowboarder. We were in the right leagues.
Seriously.
Me and Kyle, we've had it dialed the whole time.
We picked it correctly. Right.
Yeah, it sounds like compared to like Emily Stockman's stories from I think Finland, where they just didn't have light ever during the day, and she said that we would practice in the morning and then we would lift and then we'd practice at night, and you wouldn't really see the sun for most of the day.
I would have died. Yeah. I almost died in Turkey because it was snowing and I didn't have a car, and it was just like I couldn't go anywhere on my own. It was just like the gym and then my apartment, and I'm not used to cold at all, so I almost died.
I'm interested to see how Mike Ahmad
out of boredom
does out there.
Is he in Turkey?
Yeah.
Turkey was great. I loved the people and the food and the playing and all that. But yeah, my situation was a little. He's going to be in a better situation.
Well, he did 2 years in Poland too, I think. So
he's in a higher
going from Poland
echelon
to
than
Turkey.
where I was at. For sure. Yeah, I was in the second league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a nice little warm up in Poland to get used to Turkey, and
that'll prep you.
That'll prep you for sure.
But you played beach growing up, right?
I did.
Deerfield is your home beach.
Deerfield home beach.
Just went there, had some breakfast right by the pier.
Oh, nice.
Jumped in the water.
What was?
We were staying at Larry's.
We were staying at Larry's
after Florida.
After Lauderdale. Yeah.
So we went down for the day.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of you. I was like,
that's the spot.
This is where Kyle Friend grew up.
Which is like Kelly Slater's beach that he grew up surfing at.
Really?
Which not many people I don't think know that.
Is there good surf there?
Not really. That's why it's like so strange.
Is that Cocoa Beach or whatever? Where's that?
Cocoa Beach is like 2 hours north.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say that's his.
That's
spot,
like his
right?
spot. Yeah.
But he also grew up down there.
Yeah, I guess it's from what I was told growing up is like that was one of his main areas, Deerfield, and that was just the beach. It was like the beach that was closest to me. Like we were just 15 minutes west of that beach, which was great, and there was always some sort of volleyball going on over there.
Right.
And yeah, as a kid, dude, I played the Florida Beach Tour, like Dig the Beach and Florida Beach, whatever it was called before, like playing against Piotr and a couple of those guys when I was younger and doing those events, and folks driving me around and playing. You know, I was in the middle of high school and stuff like that, and just trying to do those in summertime and just having fun because I loved it. I knew it was really fun, and my folks kind of did 6-on-6 beach when we were younger, and so for like Wednesday nights that was like their fun league was beach sixes, and so me and my sister used to have to go to that as kids because we couldn't stay at home, and so we kind of grew up going to the park and watching them play 6-on-6 beach.
No way.
And that for sure kind of sparked both of us into, because she's 2 years older than me, my sister Heather, and she started playing volleyball. She played indoor in college, and so that's what definitely kind of got me going into volleyball. But my folks kind of like started out playing a little sand volleyball sixes, which is wild.
I haven't seen sixes much besides the 6-man.
Right? I feel like here it's like the fun is fours. People are doing fours.
But when you get to the older, they just don't want to do as much.
No, you got to space it out.
Space it out.
And then
give me my little square, and then I'll just worry about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Deerfield Beach growing up, many times spent at Fort Lauderdale Beach, where most of the tournaments would happen in that area. Like Deerfield would maybe host a few small events, but most of the time it was held at the Yankee Clipper, which used to be there, which is now Hotel whatever.
B Ocean or whatever?
Yeah, B Ocean right there. Like right off there was like where always the tournaments were in Fort Lauderdale.
I remember the Cuervo back in the day.
Yeah.
That was my first pro beach event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In Fort Lauderdale?
Cuervo in Fort Lauderdale.
How'd you guys do?
Just lost.
Lost.
First one in the qual.
Who were you playing with?
Riley.
Riley? I was just going to say.
Flew out from SC and just lost the first one and partied. Great experience.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of beach when I was a kid, just trying to play as much as I could, and playing club ball and then beach. It just wasn't anything organized. I wasn't getting lessons. There wasn't coaching for boys beach volleyball back then. It was hard enough to find indoor volleyball for club. Like I was either driving 45 minutes or 2 hours to Orlando.
Jeez.
And my first year playing club I was 15 playing 16s because there wasn't 14s, there wasn't 15s, there wasn't any teams.
Right.
Which is crazy. And now you can have kids like Tim who just grew up playing beach. Like didn't even do any indoor.
Just getting trained by Jose for like 5 years
Since
now.
he was like 12, I think.
Longer, okay.
Yeah, a long time. A long time. And I thank you, Jose. Thank you.
Yes. That guy's fundamentally sound. Like at practices and stuff, he just...
Yep.
Jose's like, watch, Tim. Well, look what I have Tim doing. See, he'll do it. Like that's pretty much the best you can do that.
Yeah.
Like
I
every
feel like
drill.
Tim is like sort of that proverbial bamboo tree. You know, bamboo trees, everyone talks about, it takes like 20 years and they're just in the ground and then they grow like 15 feet in 6 months or something.
Oh, really?
Didn't
know that.
That's
Thank you.
Tim. You can fact check the exact numbers, but it's something along those lines. And that's Tim Brewster this year, I feel like.
That's Tim
Where
Brewster.
everyone knew, it was like the bamboo tree is going to sprout
Yeah.
at some point. It's just a matter of time. And then, boom, picks up Kyle Friend and off he goes.
I'm very fortunate. Let's just say that because I've known Tim for years now and I've been playing against him and he's always been a good volleyball player. And this past year, you could just tell he was starting to get stronger. He was starting to hit the ball harder, better touch, just getting higher level reps. And yeah, it's a really good way. The bamboo tree is like, it's been there growing in the ground.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen it.
The potential.
And now it's starting to poof. It's going.
Yeah.
I'm just thankful to be a part of it and hold on as long as I can.
I think he needed to like be around the pros and get to know the pros and get comfortable in the tent and just accepting himself like as someone who can compete at that level to like really just like allow his game to, because we've been watching him at practice for years because he's been before or after us with Jose.
Right.
But it hasn't really broken through. We're not seeing the results in the events. So now it seems like, and then we saw you guys playing, obviously you've had a lot of good events, but playing the Taylors, I was like, this is like high pressure right here. When you guys were going back and forth, was it in the third, right? Wasn't it deuce in the third?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Tim, what's he going to do? And he's like, he's doing it. Like he's coming through, hitting good shots at right times and going for it, staying aggressive. It's like, there we go. There's the transformation.
Yeah.
That was a fun one to watch, by the way.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I still have some nightmares about that match. But
I remember one play.
It's fine.
We don't have to talk about. Wasn't there like a overpass with no one out?
Yeah, overpass. That was a little off the net, and I'm like, I see Krabby like running. First, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna chop this back to that angle. I see Krabby running that way. I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna put it the other way, and then it kind of dropped.
And
I made
second guess.
Weird. I second guessed because I saw Krabby running. I'm like, oh no, and then I just right into the net, and I'm like, whew, that was bad.
Goldfish memory. Goldfish
quickly. The problem is, I'll like the fun no jump, and I feel confident if the ball's coming over on one, then I can hit it with one hand.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But it's also really nice to just pass, set.
I think I did
get a good play.
I think I did the same thing at some point in the event. I'm picturing it now that you said it. Maybe I got dug, but like totally should have put it away.
Hitting overpasses is terrifying sometimes.
Because if it's going too far, but you already jumped and committed, you can either do like the pull down and hope your teammate's ready, which they're never ready for it, or you just have to like do something stupid.
Well, I had one that it was coming over my head. I like went to hit it, and it was coming over, and I like poked it backwards. And JM had to go run and get it.
Hey, just put some height underneath.
I'm sorry, I freaked out.
Yeah, I spazzed out. Just accept it. Let's move on.
Oh man!
But you guys have you've had a heck of a run, man.
It's been an unbelievably fun 2.5 months here with Tim. I think we've done nine events.
Started in Denver?
Yeah, we started. Our first tournament was in Denver. Before that, I was playing with Joyner for 3 events, and then we just weren't having the success. And I was like, I was looking for another blocker, and I just couldn't. There wasn't anyone that either wanted me or I could find or grab that was around my point range and quality of play. And I was just like, let me just get a really good volleyball player. Let me just see what would happen. I'll block. I don't care. Let's just have a good volleyball player. And then Tim and I have been chatting for a while, and he had asked me to do some international events last year to block. And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think I want to block, dude. Like, I'm playing defense now. Like, I don't think so. And then, it kind of just worked out right time. He texts me. He's like, hey, like, you have a guy? And I'm like, I was like looking to text you and like, let's do it. Let's give it a run. Let's do 2 events, see how we do. I said in Denver, we took 7th, which was a stacked tour event, and we qualified, which was great. That was the goal of going to that event. And it was just really, really fun. And it was like, wow, like we both can set the ball really well. Like for me, I love to, as an indoor guy, running shoots and quicks and moving the ball around. And not all my partners as blockers, not all blockers can set with pace and move it around. And so
have that feel for you and let you kind of be creative with your movements.
Definitely. Right? I'm just a little guy. I don't jump that high, so I need to move those blockers around. I need to find some other way to be effective and score points at this level, and movement is what we do really well. And it's so nice. Tim, just every touch is clean and pure. And so, after Denver, I was like, oh, this is good. Like this might work. Like I've got a couple blocks. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting everything, and whatever I don't get, like Tim will just clean it up. Hey, right. Tim, you got that? Yeah, you got that. Okay,
that.
Get that high line.
Scrappy back there.
He's so scrappy, and it surprised me. I'm just like, oh shit, that ball's going. Oh, you're there. Okay, here you go. Let me get you a set. Okay, you're there again.
It's the best feeling when you're blocking. Like, damn it, and he's like, I'm here or whatever. You're like, oh damn, okay, perfect.
It's been it's been really nice, and I think we just kind of had no expectations to start, because it was like, all right, let's just see how this works. And that was kind of like our mindset coming in, kind of like underdog mindset, like kind of some of these big guys, like we play the Taylors in Atlanta, just like, hey, we have nothing to lose. Pressure's on them. Let's just go out there, have fun. Let's compete hard, and we'll see what happens. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of just been our mindset in some of these bigger matches, is like, hey, we're the underdogs. Let's just go out there and ball and have a blast and support each other. And it's been working out so far.
Yeah. What's your personal confidence with beach volleyball in general? Because I feel like with me, Taylor, Trevor, all these guys who are having success, you know that you've played on the same level as us. We all kind of came up through the same system, which most people don't know. Me and Kyle, we met. Was it the Colorado Springs?
Colorado Springs.
We were like 16 or something.
I think we were 15.
15.
Jeez, you guys go way back.
There was a winter indoor national team, youth national team, like training session. And then the next year we both made the youth NORCECA team, or Worlds team, and then junior NORCECA, and then junior Worlds. So we went through like 4 summers together of like training down in Chula Vista, and we were the similar roles on the team. Like,
for sure,
we can both block, pass, hit a good percentage. If someone else jumped really high and hit really hard, the coach was going to start them. and we just sit on the bench being like, let's wait till they shank a few passes. And then me and Kyle are like, me, him, who do you want? Like, who's going to get the call? But you've been like playing at this high level, same in college. Me and you were probably similar roles for what I did for SC and what you did at Long Beach.
Yep.
And then we both played in smaller leagues. And then we came out to the beach, and you had like a different trajectory at that point. But, I mean, the confidence in your head, I know how it is. I know why Trevor's confident when I started winning, why Taylor's like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Sure.
Was there some of that involved just in your beach career as a whole?
Yeah. I think, definitely, like I said, it's been cool knowing you for so long and starting in the indoor and, like, hey, having that confidence indoor that I was representing USA at 15, 16.
That was a crazy feeling.
It was a crazy feeling. I remember, I'll never forget opening the email on my computer, waiting to see the hidden keyword of my birthday to see if I made the youth team or not. And I was like, oh my God.
Like, I'm on the national team.
Like the biggest, it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And obviously, my indoor career, I had a blast. I wasn't a stud, super playing at the highest league, but I got to do it. I got to experience it, and I enjoyed it. And then with beach, I've always wanted to do it, and it's just been a grind since I first started. Like, when I first came out with Miles, I was blocking, and we qualified for 3 events the first year. We qualified for 3 events the next year. We took a couple ninths, we got a win or 2 here in a main draw. And so it was like, that was fun. Honestly, for me, the confidence, it's been slowly increasing. I think a big part of it was the 2-year stretch where I was helping out with USA. I volunteered to kind of just be
that's right,
a practice guy / shag balls, help coach, hand stuff, and I got to practice every once in a while when people got hurt.
Yeah, I thought that was the smartest thing ever for you to be there.
I just wanted to. I knew a lot of you guys, but like Jake and Casey and some of the bigger guys, I wasn't in that dynamic relationship wise with those people. And I knew I just wanted to be around the best. And, and Hildebrand was like, hey, if you want to come help at practice, you're more than welcome to. So I did the girls and guys for like 2 years. And I got to play a lot, with the girls, I got to play a lot with the guys. Casey would be sick or in Thousand Oaks, and I played with Chase or whoever that was. And like just being around it, hearing the dialogue, creating relationships, I gained respect in my mind from those players, from these older players. And for me, that gave me a ton of confidence. And then when we were doing these drills and I was like winning everyone, so I'm like, okay, like I knew that was solid, but like I can compete with these players. Right. And I think that was really big for me, for my growth, for my relationshiping amongst teams and players, getting more invites to certain practices. It's tough, sometimes you got to break through into training groups. You guys know, you've been in it for a while. Yeah. So, but that was really huge for my confidence. And then just this last couple of years, like playing defense and just like kind of trying to figure it out. And I knew blocking, I had hit a ceiling, I thought in my mind when I was playing with Miles. I'm like, okay, Theo's this big, this guy's this big, hitting right over me. I'm like, okay, we're kind of in a ceiling here. Let's maybe switch to defense, and I'm a bigger defender, and so we'll see how that goes. And I had some success, a couple nights again with Duncan and Lotman, nothing crazy, and that's why I was like, okay, well, let's just see what happens if I get a really good volleyball player. And with Tim, it's just been really fun and just ball control and consistency, and that's been just a blast. But yeah, the confidence. It's like there's been doubt. Like the last 2 years, I was like, man, like, am I a good defender? Like, can I really do this at the high level? And now it's a totally different feeling stepping out onto the court. Like stepping out onto the court to play the Taylors in Chicago, or even came with Theo, I felt confident that we could win that match. Right. And that is not a feeling I've had before with any partner necessarily at this extent to know that. And so it's been really crazy. It's kind of surreal. And yeah, like the confidence is huge. It's huge. And Tim, I love Tim's getting it every match, every tournament a little bit better.
Totally.
So for us as a team, it's, losses are great, wins are great, just reps and tournament reps at high levels are great.
That's a super good, just like for anyone listening, especially younger players, like put your time and just try to get that one opportunity to measure yourself against these higher level players. Because no matter how confident you are in your head, you don't really know unless you step on the court. And like, it's going to be someone just one level ahead of you maybe, but find a way, make the calls, try to get in on practices. People need practice. That's how I got John Hayden. Right. I hit up Sean Scott and said, hey, do you need someone to do it, help with practice, whatever? And he gave me Hayden's number, and I went to go get reps with Hayden, and he's like, let's do this. Like after seeing me like try really hard at practice. So yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. It's like you put yourself in the right position. And it's the same thing. You saw we're doing drills where we're scoring it, and we're all the national team, but Kyle's at the top of the board. It's like, well, this has got to give him confidence if nothing else did. And there's been a few players who have actually come through and done that. Sean Cook actually did it once or twice. Someone else, they just sub in and ball out. And I'm like, well, now you can play with us. Damn it. Yeah. That's not good. We just gave this person a lot of confidence. Now we got another problem on tour. Unless it's Kyle, because we want Kyle around.
That was huge for me. And like I was just wanted to be around the best. And I was willing to shag. I didn't really care. I just wanted to listen. I knew I had so much to learn. Even though I've been around the sport forever, and not really had the coaching or the beach volleyball IQ given to me or the opportunity to learn a ton, from someone else. So I was like, hey, boom, let's get in here and let's just do it.
Yeah, I feel like that's been the biggest. Is like from day one, I did World University games with coaches. I had John Hayden coaching me basically for years, and then that got me into the pipeline where I'm playing against the best guys every day and hearing all this stuff. So I had the expedited path in that sense.
Sure.
But it's just funny because I feel like we started off on the same path, and now it's all kind of coming around a little bit.
It's all full circle.
I don't know why my thing is beeping.
You alive?
Getting the shark's blood.
I think I'm good. I'm getting an IV right now, people. It's all legal. I have a therapeutic use exemption. Don't try to go call WADA.
No incriminating on this podcast. Nothing like that.
Non-incriminating podcast.
Non-incriminating podcast. It's a safe space.
Yeah. Oh, so good. You mentioned though that you were you felt like you're nudging up against your ceiling. And that's kind of a scary thing in a sport like beach volleyball, where like once you hit your ceiling, you're like, well, this isn't exactly a profitable hobby.
Right.
Like, did you ever consider just like, well, maybe I should start focusing more on that full-time work? Because I feel like it's around that 32 to 35 age range when people start to hit that ceiling and they're like, I'll probably just play like the Manhattan Open every year or whatever.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'm 33, so you're spot on. And it's funny, like the beginning of this year, I was in the qualifiers with Joyner, and we hadn't qualified for any pro events. And I was like, man, like, okay, am I going to, still push this and grind this? I knew I loved beach. I know I didn't want to stop, but there wasn't a lot of income coming in and income going out, a lot of red. I mean, pretty much for most of my career, the years have been mostly just in the red slightly. These last 2 months, that is not the case. And that is a huge difference in feeling. And, honestly, before I got Tim, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I knew I still wanted to play, but, do I need to really get something more full-time and find a job that, really can support me? But then Tim and I started having success, and now the mindset is completely 180.
It's amazing how fast things change.
It's completely 180, which is wild, which is just so ridiculous to me. And now my focus is I need to squeeze all the juice I can out of this moment right now, out of this time that I'm playing good volleyball, that I have this partner who's on the rise playing amazing volleyball, and whatever we have together is really good. And on the court, it's working. And so I want to play all the events. That's why Tim and I have been hitting it hard. We're going to do a couple international events and just see what's possible, because I'm only getting older. Tim's probably just getting younger still.
Unless it's his back. His back's already 72.
Unless it's his back. Not too many scares with his back, just once in Atlantic City, but otherwise it's been pretty good. But yeah, the mindset right now, I'm all in on beach volleyball. It's been fun. It's kind of been a relief to not. And, I was in limbo trying to figure out partners before this season. And that's like, I hate that place.
Yeah.
With Duncan, I did a full year together. With Miles, I had done 2 full years. And it's just like, last year I did 3 events with 3 different players, D. Lee, Lotman, and then Brian Miller. So I was like, I hated this flip-floppy, being in limbo, not knowing a guy. And it's just like very unsettling. It's just not a fun place to be. And then, getting with Tim and having 1 or 2 events, we're like, all right, let's do the whole year. Yeah, let's do it here. What a relief. And then you can just, you're not like 99% this or that. You're 100%. There's no questions, and I'm just 100% in. And that's just so much an easier way to live.
Yeah.
That's the way it's been feeling right now.
For sure.
And you've had a career year. I was looking at your prize money. You've more than doubled your career prize money this year alone. So great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Gold Series. Thank you, AP, for having more events.
Yeah,
we have more opportunities to make money on, like the tour events. It's sure tasty little checks.
Yeah. I want to go through and see how many players had a career high in prize money this season on the AVP.
Right.
I think it's probably pretty significant.
I think I did.
Yeah.
For AVP, yeah.
Wow.
I already have.
That's great.
Well, yeah.
Couple
I
wins.
average like 3-4 events a year for my whole career. So now we've played like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and you've
good.
done great.
And 3 wins. So I've never. Me and Hyden win 3 in 1 year.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, no, I already looked at the BBB. It's my max year.
All right. Hell yeah.
The problem is, in any other sport, if you're leading the tour, your max would not be the number that I'm thinking of.
There's a little different max than your baseball players or your
a little bit different.
A little different.
But it's on the up at every level, because I think the vast majority of sort of the tour series level players have probably also hit career highs this season. But for you, I don't think it's anything physical that's different with your game. And I have this theory that I have that it's like once you get to the top level, like the physical stuff, the difference between like a you and Tri or you and Trevor is pretty minuscule. Obviously there are differences, but I think like what separates the gold medalist Olympians from, say, getting a 5th in Chicago or whatever is just mental and emotional. Mm-hmm. Like, what would you do? Think that there's something there?
No, I think it's like 99% that at this point, because over the last 3 years, has my body really changed? Not really. I'm lifting just as much as I was before. I'm training just as much as I was. Now the difference, what I feel is when I go into matches, the mind is more calm. I feel way more relaxed. Of course, I have these jitters, these butterflies. So I'm excited to play, but it's different.
Yeah,
it's a different confidence. It's a different calmness on the court, and I think in my mind, I always looked at beach as I will get better as I play longer and more. And the older I get, I will get more. I'll get wiser. My touch will become cleaner, and I will be able to outsmart those guys over there. Maybe I will jump an inch or two less in 5 years, or I won't be able to run quite as fast over time. But if we can play volleyball at a high level and beat you, then that's different than jumping up, hitting the crap out of the ball and smashing volleyballs over your face. So I think you're spot on. 100%.
Where do you think that calmness came from?
Losing. I think it's come from winning, right? And winning, of course, but just reps of tournament play. Reps of tournament play, playing against really top-level guys, getting our butt kicked in Manhattan Beach this year, a nice smack in the face and a nice little realization. And I think as I'm getting older, I realize how much I love this sport, but also I realize I'm blessed to be able to go and play. And so I have this different gratitude, relaxation about it all, and just I'm just excited to go out there and play. Yeah. And I don't feel that stress that, oh my God, I have to side out every single point. And then the tighter you get, the worse you play. Yeah. I think some confidence over the last couple of years, just playing a little bit of volleyball, getting that feeling. And then honestly playing with Tim, I feel as if I want to be that person that's a bit more steady in my confidence and my focused mentality, because he's the youngster, right? And now I'm the old guy. Not that it's expected of me. I mean, he's super solid as well, but it's like a different role, and I think that it's just kind of helped me smooth out my game. Yeah, at the same time, which has been great. Yeah, which has been awesome.
Because it's kind of like that rule that you learn best by teaching. Sure. And sort of you learn how to control your mind and emotions best when you're trying to set that example for Tim of how to be really calm on the court. Because I think that's the biggest difference that I've seen from Tim just when we first started practicing in January to where you guys are now, is his overall body language and mentality after a block or a mistake. Because I remember at first he'd be so sad. Yeah. He'd be so sad. He's like, totally. Shoot, I let me down, I let you down, my parents are watching, I let them down, Jose's going to be sad because I just got blocked, and it manifests itself. And now Tim, I've been so impressed with his ability to get out of trouble so much and he's just so calm, and he has this swagger now. Yeah. It's this sassy swagger from Timmy B.
Totally.
I love it.
It's funny when you say that. I remember when I first played with Hayden, he would get annoyed at me because I said sorry. Because I'd be like, oh, sorry, I messed up, Mr. Hayden, basically. Or just messing up Pepper, oh my God, idiot, sorry. Be like, hey, you're not allowed to say sorry anymore, okay? There's none of that. And when he said that, I was just like, all right, well, I'm not sorry then. And, it was just freeing is my point. Yeah. And same thing you're saying right now where Tim, I mean, maybe over the top, let's be honest, where he would be so down about an error here or the error there. Because, we saw it with Jose. It was all over him with all that stuff, just all yelling at him all day. But you could see it for sure, what you guys are talking about. When he's playing with you now, he trusts what you're saying. And these situations that you guys are in aren't the biggest, highest pressured volleyball situations that you've ever experienced. Right. So you can literally be like, Tim, been here. We're good. Yeah. You made an error. We're supposed to make an error. That's what happens. Uh-huh. And he believes you, and it's just you just move on. And that's where you get the extra 1 or 2 points.
It's just beeping away.
Don't go dying on us, Try. All right.
We need you.
We need you. And I think that's spot on, Try. And it's I've always played in my mind super light and super happy, and I'm smiling even if I make an error because I don't want to dwell. I know the next serve is coming, and some of my partners like that. Some of my partners didn't like that about me. Right. And that's okay. Travis knows we played a bunch of events together. It was fun. We're going to support each other. We're having a good time. And I feel that's when I play my best volleyball is like that. And I hope that, that has kind of helped Tim, or at least made him feel comfortable that, hey, it's okay, we can make an error. Like, it's okay. I'm going to set this ball a little better for you this next point, or whatever it is. And, I think the way we communicate in the dialogue after mistakes has gotten better since we started. And I think that's helped both of us a lot. And because Tim, there's moments we've seen it where, 1 point feels like 2 or 3.
Yeah, right.
And it's funny, when we've been playing, I notice every once in a while he gets a little upset. And in Manhattan Beach, we had April sit in our box, which was awesome. We were stoked to have her. And one of her feedback after that tournament was like, hey, like sometimes you guys lose points and it looks like it dwells on you, like it carries on. And I'm like, oh man, like we got to clean it up. And for the first 2 months, me and Tim were trying to figure out, we're looking at everything we can, but we don't always see that outside perspective of how our body language is together.
Oh, 100%.
And when April said it, I'm like, man, okay. And so that was like a focus of ours for these last couple events, to be better in that area. And I think we did a great job in Virginia Beach. I think we did a good job in Chicago of managing those little body language plays, which might just be 1 or 2 points. And that might be it. And that just might help Tim's confidence for that next swing or my next hit or whatever that is.
It's been one of Trev and I's like bullet points we've been going over is body language.
Yeah.
Like we can't control the runs, the this or that, all this happens, but we can control our body language and our energy. And we know that people don't like us having good energy. For sure. Like energy that's good for us. We just see other teams dwindle under it.
Yeah.
But when we get quiet and like we can see them kind of rising up. So it's like, it doesn't even matter how the volleyball is going. We can control our energy and how we're coming across to each other, whether if I get blocked and I turn away from you or I go towards you, high five, boom, we moved on. Make eye contact, like the small stuff.
Yeah.
And we're talking about this with sports psychs. Every week we have meetings. So this is like the stuff that we've come up with. But it's the exact same thing that's been helping you guys.
Yeah, no, 100%. And looking back on Tim's our first main draw this year, which was Fort Lauderdale, and Tim didn't play his best volleyball in that first match. We played Lotman and Partain, and they beat us in 2, but I remember Tim being quiet and a little hesitant in certain things. And it was, he felt the nerves. And it was like from that Tim to Stadium Court Chicago Tim is like light year difference.
Yeah.
Light year. And all it took was a couple main draw matches to get that feeling, to get that confidence. Whether we were winning or not this season, I think just playing in those bigger events has done wonders for him and for our team confidence.
Yeah. I think John Mayer described it really well when LMU made the NCAA championships for the first time. He was talking to the girls and he was like, all right, who here is nervous? And they were like, oh, we're not nervous. Like, he's like, you should be nervous. He said, you've never been here before.
Right.
He said, because he compared it to mountain climbing where he's like, you're breathing in air you've never been in before and you need to acclimate. He says, it's okay to be nervous. Like, accept it. Just have a good relationship with this moment and just embrace it for what it is. It's the first time.
Yeah.
And I think just the more you play on that stage, the more you're used to it. And now, like you said, you were in USA, like shagging balls for guys subbing into practice. That gives you confidence. Now you play the Taylors on center court in Chicago, and it's no different than playing them in practice in Hermosa. The more you get experience with those moments, the easier it is to perform well in them.
Yeah.
It's just an experience thing.
Just an experience thing for sure. And that's what's so exciting, I think, my perspective of Tim and I is that we've only been doing this for like 2.5 months. We haven't really had a coach. Yeah, we had April for a tournament in a couple days. And he's still beginning to rise, beginning to peak in terms of confidence. The bamboo has been maturing, growing for the last, 10 years and now it's sprouting. So that's what's like really fun and exciting for me is that I feel like we've been playing really good volleyball, but we can be even more efficient and just a bit more focused in certain areas and clean up some things that would just make us even better. Yeah. Which is cool.
Well, I think
for sure.
I think one of your superpowers as a beach volleyball player is that you're such a good partner. I talk to Delaney about it all the time. That I think you are the perfect person to play with pretty much anybody, but especially Tim, because you are so positive. But it's not this like fake positivity. Like it's a constructive.
Sure.
Like you're talking about gratitude, but it's a constructive gratitude. It's not like you go out there and you're like, well, it doesn't matter if we lose. I'm just grateful to be alive. You know?
Yeah.
It's a good it's a sort of freeing gratitude. Because I remember we played in La Paz, and I gave up like 3 or 4 in a row. And I called timeout and didn't tell you, and I just started walking away. And you like came over, put your arm around me. He was like, "You can tell me next time you want to call a timeout, man." You're like, "I got you. And then we won the match. It was awesome. So I think so much of I think you make everyone around you better when you're on the court. And I think that Tim's growth is a huge credit, obviously, to all the work that Tim has put in, and it was going to happen eventually. But I think that your energy on the court has probably expedited that. So I think that Brandon Joyner played his best volleyball with you as well.
Yeah.
I think you get that out of pretty much anyone you play with.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think, I want to be the best partner because it's just me and you out there. And so however I can make you play the best volleyball and whatever that looks like, then we have the most success. And I think, just the dynamic that Tim and I have, it's just worked well. Like you said, I'm going to be that good guy or that good partner to everyone. But I think it just might have been that little extra juice that Timbo needed to just get the fire blazing.
Yeah, sometimes the personalities just have to mesh.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a handful of guys I can name right now that are not having the success they should be having.
Yep.
Purely because of the kind of teammate they are.
Sure.
Or they're just not meshing right with that particular partner. But in this sport, like, what are the chances you get that perfect guy?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to adapt. I honestly think that's probably the least talked about and most valuable skill. Like, if there was like a, the video game meter, it should have that in there, like teammate ability.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. Like, do you make your teammates better? And some people are like a 2 on that, but 8 out of 10 on every other category and not getting the results.
Yep.
It's unbelievably valuable.
Back when I was at Long Beach, we had Karch come in to talk to us one day, and he talked about Karch. Familiar with him? He came in to talk to our team. Niper brought him in to just chat, and one thing I remember him saying is that when he was on the court, he wanted to make volleyball easier for his teammates. And I think subconsciously I was an 0-2 when I played at Long Beach, which meant I was there to pass the ball, dig balls, and not make mistakes hitting the ball. And that was it. I had Lotman on my team my first year. It was like, set Lotman every ball. You'll crush everything, Kyle. We're going to get you like 5 or 7 sets. Don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Just put the ball in play.
You don't have to get kill for all of them. Put 3 away and make the other 2 in play.
And just, pass the ball well. And then fast forward to freaking 9 years later, my last season of Switzerland, my head coach was this Czech guy who played the national team forever. I had him for 2 years. He was amazing. And the nicest compliment he gave me was that he's like, we play better when you're on the court because you make volleyball easier for the guys around you. And I'm like, dude, that is really nice to hear.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so I think in the same way when it comes to beach, like, you have to touch the ball so well and so clean, and there's so many ways to do it. Yeah. And if it can be easier for my guy to be the best player, then perfect. That's what I want to do. And so, I'm just thrilled. I'm just thrilled to have.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, the goal of the game kind of gets lost with people. It's just about getting points. Whether you make them or your partner makes them,
right,
doesn't matter. But if you can make your partner make more points, like, that's an unbelievable skill, right?
Skill.
Then you can actually have to do less, take pressure off yourself. But I think people don't think about it quite as much. It's kind of like what April was saying a little bit, right? She's like, just, you guys gave up 1 point, but made it look like 3.
Correct.
It's like she kind of sees it differently, the value of 1 point. Mm-hmm. She's like, doesn't matter how I lost. I lost 1 point. Whatever, and she's able to just move on right away, no matter what happened. Yeah. I think that perspective changes as you become a veteran and get older. You're like, it's literally just, how can I get more points, and where can I get it? And getting it from these small places is like where you start to learn. Like, I'm starting to finally kind of implement, like, keep knowing when to keep the ball in play.
Right.
Oh, just make them dig something hard, and then set up my defense really well. They're kind of transitioning. Like, the odds are still in my favor, whereas before it's like not ace out, but like swing. Hopefully they get got to get a kill. And it's like, no. And then you do that throughout a whole match, and that's like the odds swing in your favor a lot, and you're tiring them out. You're making there's so many different things.
Yeah, and you're also Reed Pretty described it this way, that every single point is a data point, and Reed's just collecting data. And I think that's one thing that you and Trevor especially do really well, is that Trevor, his ability to read the game and pick up on tendencies as the game goes on, I think is one of his sort of intangible superpowers. And so every time you make them play the ball, you're like, all right, well, this guy, when he digs and comes out of the middle in transition, he likes going back to the baby line. So Trevor's just going to wait, delay, and swat.
Make them make the right choice.
Right.
And make it, take away the one that they want to take away. So if they're not thinking or like realizing these things, like I was being very stubborn in the whole beginning of this year, hit angle, high line, everyone wants to run forwards. I'm like, I know, but they can't block me. I'm going to still hit it. In the final again in Chicago, I was like, there's that 4 high line. I feel both of them talking about it, saying, let's get these angles. So I went corner. I was like, okay, they know that I'm forcing my angle. And then I dropped a cutty over, which is scary with Taylor, to go over the block cutty because he can easily just jet back. But I was just like, calm, go over it, don't force it, don't try to blow Taylor up. And then it kind of got me back on track because I felt for a second, I think I gave up on 2 or 3 occasions. It's like, no runs. And that kind of got me out of it. It was just like being like, just make the right play. And if they make a play out of it, then great. Yeah.
What, for you, these last 2 wins, Manhattan, Chicago, has there been something that you think has been working in these last 2 tournaments, or has there been a focus before these that you feel that there's been?
There's just been a really good synergy with me, Trev, and our coach.
Yeah.
And we didn't have him all year. We obviously had Jose all preseason. We had no coach through our FIVB, and then we got Leandro. We bought into his stuff, started trusting him. So that alone, and we have like a really set routine. We're having fun. We weren't really having much fun on that world tour. Sure. Which is probably our fault, but so that's a lot of it. It's just really good energy.
Yeah.
And then Leandro's really freaking smart.
He's smart, huh?
Yeah. And I'm been trying for like years now, trying to like think a little more, be a little smarter, and just learn. And I feel like it hadn't clicked. And then with Leandro, he helped me with a few things. My defense, I'm starting deeper so I can move forward, because I felt like I've always been good at digging balls. Yeah. Indoors, very confident on hard drivens, but on the beach I've always been stuck, and it's because I've been moving so laterally this whole time. I'm not that fast laterally, but if I'm moving forward, I can dig hard drivens, I can sprawl forward, and then I'm also can step and go, take off on any ball. I'm just way more balanced. So it's just a small thing there, which gives me confidence. Trevor's been more happy. He was sick for 2 weeks on world tour. Yeah. His shoulder was bugging him. He gets grumpy anyway. So we were just, it was just energy, a combination of a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kept grinding at it, and it all came together at the right time.
Well, that's nice. No, it's good to hear. And Leandro, Tim has a relationship with Leandro.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because I've seen him, I know him around, but now I've been chatting with him more, and he'll come and I feel like he's watching all of our matches and always giving Tim some sort of feedback or coming over and have a chat with him. And Tim,
he does watch you guys a lot.
And it's like, he likes Tim a lot. I think Tim has a ton of respect for Leandro, and whatever he's saying to Tim, it's just, Tim is all ears, and I love it. And he's given both of us, some feedback or some pointers here and there. But I feel like every time he goes to talk to Leandro, I'm like, yes, go
get a
talk
nugget
to coach, go get a nugget, go get something, bring something back for me, Papa.
No, totally. And Leandro in general, I think is, you knew he was good with what he did with Sponsel and Clays. You saw them kind of take off during that time, but with Jose, he was just the best assistant everywhere. He wouldn't talk. He would only speak in Portuguese to Jose, and then Jose would say, "Talk, Leandro. Tell him what you told me." And that was the only time he would talk for like 2 years.
Wow.
And then you have him as the head now, and he's running everything and saying everything that comes to his mind. I'm like, whoa, like this guy's smart. Like he earned our trust, and now we really bought in. And having him on the bench is like, wow, this is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool to see. It's crazy because 1440 brought this like Brazilian wave of coaches over. Right.
There's so many of them.
Carrie had Marcio, and then she hired Marcio to sort of head the developmental program, and then he hired Dan Wayner and Arthur Corvaya, he coaches Allie Wheeler and Deanna, and used to coach Corinne and Skirm, and then Leandro came in.
Chewbacca
with that
was
crew.
here.
Chewy.
Oh, it's
I don't know if I met Chewy.
no.
Pompilio.
Pompilio?
No,
Pompilio's he came in for that program too.
Oh my God, how am I blanking on his name? He's a big curly fro Brazilian guy. He's not here anymore.
Kyodai?
Kyodai, yes.
Kyodai.
Yes. They call him Chewy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Pompilio. Pompilio was our assistant at one point, but he just couldn't travel and like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many Brazilians.
You just like walk up starting, I mean, he was the first, I think 8th Street is where Arthur and Pompilio coach, and you just walk up the Strand, and it's just like you're walking up Little Brazil.
It shows you
That
shows you the culture of volleyball in Brazil, to where these guys are like diehard. They want to do this for a living, that they're willing to move their families to the States and like commit to this and just like show up at the beach and like, who can I help? Who can I coach? And move their way up through. Now Dan's all of a sudden coaching one of the best teams in the world right now. So yeah, it's cool to see.
Who have you really worked with many coaches on the beach?
I've never. Corey Glaive worked with Miles and I when we were first starting. I coached Corey's son Logan at Concordia, and Corey was working with Billy Allen in Stafford at the time. I remember we played them in Hermosa and they beat us. And I remember Corey after the game was, super sarcastic. He's like, "Hey, you want me to teach you how to block?" And I'm like,
sounds like a very Corey thing.
That'd be great. That'd be great. So I was really fortunate early on to have some time that he worked with us. But that was a bit with Miles, but I haven't had a coach in the last 4 years.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking about as we were speaking too.
It's like Tim and I were looking for a coach. We are looking for a coach for sure. We wanted one earlier. We haven't been able to pinpoint or nail one down. It's kind of middle of the season. Now we're kind of practically
Plus when
done.
you're in the red, it's hard to hire a coach, right?
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. It's like, yeah, wants to coach me. I'm just losing money. And so, that's like a whole other avenue because, having a coach changes the game. It changes the focus of your practice. It changes how efficient you can be, the feedback that you're getting. And so I would love to have a coach. I would love to have a coach for the last 2 years. It just really wasn't in the cards. And I think optimally having a consistent partner is important and having that coach success and dynamic. And so Tim and I are definitely on the hunt for a coach. And, if anyone out there is looking to coach a team, we're available.
It's a pretty good option.
Yeah. I mean, April, we would love to lock down April. I don't know if she's got the time right now to really commit. And like we got her from an MBO and a couple of practices and that was about it.
Yeah.
We'll see what next year looks like. But we want a coach. I think that's going to really help us get to even that next level.
Speaking of April, what's the story there? How did you guys first become friends? I know you guys lived together for a while.
Yeah, we still live together.
Oh, you still live together?
We still live together. Josh.
She's up here now.
She's up here now, full time.
Oh,
her fiance, Josh Riley, was an old teammate of mine at college.
That's right.
We lived together for 2 years at Long Beach State, and I've been best friends with Josh for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And so April started hanging out with us like 6 years ago, something like that, in our friend group. And I remember we went to go play fours at the park down in Newport where all the indoor guys were playing and living, and I was like, April Ross is coming to play. I'm like, what? April's coming to play beach volleyball with us? I remember I took a selfie with the group and April was in there. I sent it to my folks. And I was like, I just played volleyball with April Ross today. It was the coolest thing ever. So she started hanging out with us then. She had this house in Costa Mesa with 2 empty rooms. Carson Clark, my old roommate and good indoor volleyball friend. We played USA with him as well. Full circle here. He popped into one of April's rooms for like half a year, and then her other room opened up, and I was like, "Hey, my roommates were having a kid, and I need to get kicked out." I'm like, "Hey, April, like, do you want another roommate?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure. Like, let's do it." And so that was like 2017, I think. And so I lived in Costa Mesa with April and Carson for a couple of years. Carson moved out, but I was living there forever. She just remodeled the house down there. She's gonna have renters come in. She's going to rent that place out. And she decided she wanted to live up here. And it just kind of worked out that Josh had an extra bedroom up here at his place. And I was like, Josh, you want to rent this one out to me? And I told Josh in April, I'm like, hey, if you guys, want your own space, I've been with you for a while now, and if you're ready, she's like, April's like, no, honestly, like, I like having you around. I like having people around. I'm like, okay, great. Say no more, know? And so, yeah, I've just kind of been, living with April for a while and just becoming really good friends with her. And, it's been great. It's been really cool to be a part of her journey during this time and to kind of see everything that's gone into her success and the focus and how it shifts like prior to the Olympics and how much more dialed it becomes. And I'm always trying to pick her brain about volleyball this, volleyball that, when she wants to talk about volleyball, you know? So I've known April now for like 5 or 6 years, which is wild.
Pretty good friend to have in the beach volleyball community.
Definitely.
I watch April all the time too. And that lately I have actually been thinking a lot about the way that she kind of like knows how to peak for events. And for these last few events, I was totally thinking that like, cause I'm like an all in guy. Right. Like I'm not going to half ass this event and then go hard in the next one. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. But I'm like, it's kind of hard to go all in on like all in on every event. And then I'm like, if April's doing it, then it's probably the right call. Yeah. And I ask her questions over the years too. Yeah. That was Tim Hovland's
It's
a pretty good coach.
Right, he always called himself the big game hunter. And I remember St. John was like, Hovland wanted to win all the tournaments. Are you kidding me? Like, he's Hovland. Right. And I talked to Hovland about it. I was like, well, St. John doesn't believe you. And he goes, I couldn't focus for 25 tournaments. Are you kidding me? Right. He goes, so I wanted to win the Cuervos. I wanted to win Manhattan. I wanted to win Hermosa. He's like, Rhode Island, St. John, take Rhode Island. Right. He's like, I'll get the Manhattans. Yeah. He's like, I couldn't. He's just like, it was just the focus required of peaking.
It's not that you're not showing up, not that you're not going to practice. The focus, the maybe time off or small stuff like that can be like a stressor over time. I feel like you can choose when to do those things and when not to, because you see April Ross when Olympics time comes is a different human being, like laser focused at all times, basically.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll see her when it's time to not play and it's time to have fun with her friends. They're having a lot of fun.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
And it's just, who cares about volleyball?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a balance, and I think she's got it down to a science.
For sure.
Now
she can do whatever she wants.
To say at least. Yeah, now she can do whatever she wants. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned that coming up to the end of the season, we have the NORCECA playoff tomorrow. What's the rest of your year look like? I'm sure you and Tim probably have a little rough draft.
Yeah, we have a solid little plan here, and after tomorrow's NORCECA, we have 2 weekends off, which is exciting and thrilling as we've been on the road for the last 8 weeks in a row. Definitely the most traveling and most volleyball I've played ever in my life. And somehow my body's hanging in there. It's pretty good. It feels pretty good, and we've been doing well. Winning definitely helps that and making these 8 weeks fun. So after this NORCECA, we have 2 weekends off. We're not going to do Laguna this weekend. We kind of were on the fence about it, and we just wanted to rest. Yeah. We just wanted a break. I mean, even Virginia Beach was up in the air a little bit for us about maybe we would take this weekend off and rest and be really fresh.
Anything but rest.
If it was anything but rest. Tim cramping, the heat. I mean, long 1.5-hour matches. But we got points. We got the bid. We did exactly what we needed to do there, and so I'm glad we went and did that. So 2 weekends off. Then we go to Dominican Republic, Punta Cana for the first NORCECA. We qualified.
When's that one?
It's at the end of the month, September 30th, something like that. Okay. And that was supposed to be one of 4 that the last NORCECA qualifier bid for got us, but only one out of those 4 is happening. Classic NORCECAs, as you know. Standard. If we do well tomorrow, that qualifies us for Nicaragua, and that's the following weekend after Punta Cana.
Oh, nice.
So then we have that tournament, and then there's 3 events overseas, one in the Maldives, 2 in Dubai, 1 in Oman. And so we'd like to do all 3 of those. My points are abysmal because over COVID. I had a couple from you, NORCECAs, but those have disappeared since COVID. Tim traveling the world the last couple of years, so he's got a ton of points, which is awesome. Yeah. So Maldives is maybe not. We were hoping NORCECAs would give us a couple points, but they dropped some earlier ones, so now we're kind of on the fence. But if everything goes right, we're going to do Maldives, do Dubai, and then do Dubai again or Oman, and do those. And then that'll be a crazy little 3-week venture across the globe there, and then come back for Huntington Beach and do the Tour Series Huntington Beach. Are you gonna play that? Are you gonna play that?
I'm gonna play.
You're playing, yeah,
for sure.
No,
probably not. Yeah.
When is that?
November 2nd, I think.
I think it's a little later.
Is it a little later?
I think it's the
10th?
second week of November,
Okay.
and then Clearwater's right after,
Got it.
and then it's Thanksgiving, and then
Isn't there
Tavares.
isn't that over Cape Town and Brazil and stuff right then?
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
I
conflict with.
Oh, okay.
I think we're
One
going
of
to
them.
Cape
Got it.
Town.
Got it.
Something.
And then Tavares conflicts with an Elite 16.
Oh,
what's
it does.
Tavares?
Tavares is the last.
Where is that?
The Central
Orlando.
Florida Open.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Central
that.
Florida.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
I guess it's
we'll see. We're playing that one by ear.
yeah. I'm figuring that most teams or a handful of teams are not planning to do that because after Chicago, it's like all the pro events are kind of done.
Yeah, I mean, if you're only playing AVPs, you're going to stay in shape for 3 months
Right.
for one
I
event
don't
at a
s-
rec center in Orlando.
I don't see
Yeah.
it.
Outside Orlando.
That's why I like the Tour Series guys. We're gonna have some events to get us ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Like start
you
getting
know, they
going
got
again.
Huntington
We'll see.
and Clearwater. Like I said, we'll do Huntington, Clearwater. We'll see. It's right before Thanksgiving, so for me, I'd pop to Clearwater, go right to Florida, and see my folks for Thanksgiving would be great.
Yeah.
And then Orlando is like the weekend after that, I think. So
Yeah.
it's like kind of a quick little turnaround. It'd be good practice. But we're in for Orlando because we got the bid, so that's awesome. And there's only 10 auto, so that's why Virginia was on the fence because we were like, we have a lot of points. Are we going to be in for Orlando? I don't know. Let's go to Virginia, get the bid.
Yeah.
And then
And now you probably won't even need it. I wonder how they'll do the trickle down because it's.
I'm so curious.
Yeah.
What's the
'Cause-
trickle down? What are we talking about?
So for the way that they've done the qualification system is that they're using the Tour Series events that would qualify you for a corresponding Pro or Gold Series.
Okay.
And so the Central Florida
but
event,
not your Pro Series events?
the Pro Series they're not qualifiers.
No
for
qualifiers.
anything.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
So all the qualifying series try.
Okay. Oh, now it's clear.
Yeah. So Virginia Beach was a qualifier for the Central Florida, but so is Huntington. So they're taking 4 spots from Virginia and 2 spots from Huntington that'll qualify you for Tavares. But now Kyle and Tim, they got a bid because they took third in Virginia. But now with their points from Chicago, they'll be in automatically in Central Florida anyway.
Oh, so that
so
spot
I'm
will
wondering
trickle down.
if they're going to trickle it in Virginia or if they're going to trickle it in Huntington.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And
It's
so that's kind of the question mark.
Gotcha.
very interesting.
Because you guys, I'm assuming, will play in Huntington too.
Yep.
So if like you took a bid there, like it's
Yeah. And then how do you decide? Okay, the guys in Huntington that played the third place team there, or is it the 5th place team in Virginia?
Right.
Who gets preference there? And
or do you just go to like which team had the most
points at the start of the event?
Yeah.
Tricky.
It's gonna be
Who
tricky.
knows?
It's gonna be tricky.
Someone's going to be mad. Someone's
for
gonna be
sure.
happy.
Undoubtedly.
for sure.
Huh.
But yeah, Orlando Tavares will be the last one of the year, pretty much. I don't know if there's any FIVBs after that we're looking to do.
Yeah.
Are there any?
There's a futures in the Philippines and The Hague,
Oh, wow.
and that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Disneyland is the main reason why I'm thinking about Disney World, sorry.
Disney World, nice.
Thinking about
The
bringing the fam out and
the
just
place-
playing that event.
Tavares is actually it's a cool little spot. It's great sand. It's big. It's just sort of in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Is the only thing. But the actual beach volleyball venue is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just the surrounding area is just a little dull.
Lake Town, small.
Yeah.
Not much pop in there for
Yeah.
sure.
And Delaney won there last time, so I had to defend them a word or title.
Right. That's
Oh,
right.
there you go.
Yeah, that's where you got COVID there last
I
time.
did.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, that's where you were?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I got to know Tavares really well. Stuck.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, you've had a busy year. You got a busy fall coming up.
Busy fall.
You're all in.
I'm all in, and it feels great.
Yeah.
And it's like refreshing. It's less stressful, I think, than being a little bit in and a little bit unwavering.
Totally.
Just knowing, hey, I'm all in on volley. Tim, let's hit everything we can. Let's do it all. We're playing good. Let's just do it all.
Yeah.
And so that's been a blast, and I'm just thankful we've had all these events to play, the tour stops. Like, it's been really good for players like us to be able to break in and get some reps and then get some money, get some
everybody.
points for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you talk to a lot of the athletes, I'm sure most of them are pretty happy that we've had these tour events and these opportunities to play. And Yeah, more volleyball, please. Like, let's go.
More volleyball.
Let's go.
Heck yeah.
Well, Migo, appreciate you coming on,
Hey,
brother.
thank you, boys, for
Cheers.
having me.
Great
It's
season.
just a blast. I'm glad to see you guys.
Good times.
This has been an amazing year, and got a few more stops left.
Yeah. Last time you came on the podcast, we chatted in Bon Air.
In Bon Air.
That's right. I missed out on that one.
It's been a
That
while.
was the remote Bon Air, which was 3 years ago, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bronze medal.
Bronze medal, baby. Bronze medal.
There you go. Good times.
All right. Shoots, boys.
Shoots.
I can't reach.